Hello and welcome to Abby's News Report.
Landed on her neck and possibly broken it.
Silent, like nobody was speaking.
And I was actually verge crying. I didn't want to show my emotions, but I was verge crying. And then
I'm going to be filming a bit of a different video. So if you've watched some of my previous videos where I've done my gymnastics journey and a 2-year edit, around about, it's just over 2 years now, I broke my arms, and I frequently get asked questions about my arms, about how I did them. So I thought I'd answer them in this video by doing a bit of a story time and also doing a bit of a Q&A near the end as well. Also, I'm going to be including my friend's point of view, so keep an eye out at the end of the video to see their point of view, what they thought happened, that sort of thing. So we're going to get on the video. So now I'm going to start the story time, and I'm just going to explain the date and everything, and where it happened, that sort of thing. So I'm obviously not going to tell you exactly where it happened, but I'm going to tell you the sort of thing. Okay, so it's the 10th of March 2018. So yeah, it's 2 years ago, well, kind of a couple of months. And it was the West Midlands Tumbling Championships. So that's if you come in the top 2, you qualify for the semis, and then you go through to the finals if you qualify in the top 8, as long as you catch your range of condition and everything. And there was actually only 2 in my category, so I was pretty sure that I was going to qualify. And yeah, I mean, I wasn't still 100% that I was going to qualify. I was I'm going to come second. But I still got a chance, it's a higher chance of qualifying. So yeah, I was 12. So yeah, I'm not the most confident in the sense, so I've always had a coach standing next to the track. So if you're watching all the videos that I'll include whilst I'm talking, my coach Paul is always there standing, even if he's not supporting me, he'll still be there just in case, even though when I broke my arms he couldn't have done anything, because it wasn't he could step in quickly and change how it happened and that. So yeah, I've always had a coach there, because I'm not the most confident, as you know, but my friends might know, and that sort of thing. So yeah, it was the 10th of March, and I'm not going to tell you where it was, I'm just going to tell you the sort of thing it was. So yeah, there was only 2 in my age group. I was competing NDP3. It's my first competition with a whipping, so I still haven't competed a whip yet. Obviously I competed it then, but it wasn't it didn't go well. So yeah, I still haven't competed a whip. I was planning on competing one this year, but obviously all the competitions got cancelled. And even if there is some competitions later on in the year, I don't think I will be ready, because like I said, I'm not the most confident and quite, I don't really know what the word is, basically I'm not that confident. So yeah, it was, all I remember is warming up. All the videos that you'll see are actually me warming up. You won't see any videos on the competition. They were all deleted because they didn't want to go through after. I don't really know, but I just don't have even my first pass. I don't have that video at all. I only have my warm-up videos, so I've got them to show you. But yeah, so all I remember is my name being called up, walk down the track, then walk back, and then start. Remember my warm-up, I was really nervous. First of all, it was my first time competing a whip, and yeah, I was just and it's a competition, isn't it? So I was really nervous. And before that, I had done fairly well in competitions, so I just felt a bit more pressure, if you know what I mean. I wasn't saying I did great in all competitions. I definitely didn't win every single competition, but I'd gone to semis the year before. So I felt more pressure on myself than anything. It wasn't so much pressure from other people, it was more pressure on myself, because I was I need to go to semis again. I competed there last year. I mean, I didn't go to finals because I came 9th and you have to come in the top 8. So yeah. And then all I remember is just presenting, and then I don't remember anything from this bit. So obviously you did my round off, my flick, my whip, and then in my whip, this is what I've been told by my coaches, I over-rotated so I went too high because this track is very bouncy, because it's like, it's quite old I think, and it's just very worn in, so I went too high, and then when I came to my flick, there wasn't enough room between me and the track, so when I put my arms down, I was really low down and there was just nowhere to go, so my arms, well, my bones literally just broke, so they went opposite ways. And yeah, so I don't remember any of that. My brain completely blocked it out, which I'm glad it did. It's all I remember apparently. Well, I don't remember this bit. Apparently, I tried to stand up, realised I couldn't, and then I looked at my arms. I screamed like a proper loud scream, to the point where people heard me in the toilets. And yeah, so then. My mum and dad came over, all my coaches, well not all of them, but I think there was 3 of them came over, and then some of the judges, that sort of thing. Sorry, that's the washing machine. So the judges came over and everything, and then at this point I was like, they put mats around, like people were holding mats up, so the people couldn't see me. And then they laid me down because I just felt, yeah, they just laid me down. And then I remember having to drink, well, I really wanted to drink because I would never eat, I wouldn't drink before I went, like nothing, I wouldn't eat, drink before my competition, because it made me feel sick because I was so nervous. So then they had to get like a bandage sort of thing, I don't really know what it was, and they put it in water, and then I had to kind of like suck it from that, which sounds really weird, but yeah, and first of all I don't like playing water, so that made it 10 times worse. Well, it wasn't that bad. So yeah, they then called the ambulance. There was some complications. They took around about an hour to get to me, because they thought I just had a sprained wrist. I had a cardigan put over me and everything. And that, because I didn't really like seeing my arms. So then the ambulance got here around about an hour later. I was obviously in a lot of pain. Obviously, I can't really remember this. I remember lying there thinking, oh my god, I keep saying they're broken. My arms are broken. So yeah, also I was very hungry. I hadn't eaten since breakfast and it's like 3 o'clock. So I was very hungry. And then an hour later the paramedics walked in, but they kind of just walked in not expecting anything. So they didn't walk in with any medication, anything, no gas and air, no bag. They just walked in and then they were like, why is she like boxed off? And then he came over, he took the cardigan off and he realised and he looked, he ran back to the ambulance, got gas and air and morphine and just more sort of like, I don't really know what he brought, but he brought that sort of things. And then they gave me some morphine, and then he gave me some gas and air, and then when the pain was starting to go, they put me onto the stretcher, they wheeled me out, and I went into the ambulance, and what I found very nice was when I went out, like everyone was clapping, so I found that really nice. And then I got to the hospital it's probably about 15 minutes later because we were in the ambulance for about 10 minutes, trying to figure out which hospital I was going to. And then got there and I was waiting for ages because I needed an operation. My operation was quite late. I remember getting out about 9:30 I think, and it was a 3-hour operation. So I was waiting, I had basically got my arms broken for 3, probably, I don't really know, it must have been, it was a good couple of hours, I know that. And yeah, so, and then I had gas and air and everything. I had to keep water just having the same way, couldn't actually drink it. I was absolutely starving. I hadn't eaten all day basically that day, so I hadn't eaten since breakfast, which was a McDonald's breakfast, not the healthiest. So yeah, and then I got out of operation, and then I went to my ward. It was a 3-hour operation. I had pins in, 24 pins and 4 plates in both arms. And they thought I also broke my wrist, but it was my growth plate, luckily. And I was in cast. Well, it wasn't actually a cast, it was a back slab, so it's bandage on the bottom and then cast on the top. And it came up to my elbow, and then it was right down to my knuckles on both arms. And then they also found out I had a torn nerve, which was like all the way down here, which meant later on I had to go to another hospital where they had like a bit of like, no, I don't really know, nerves and that, and they had to like do these shocks, check my nerve, and they actually thought I was going to need another operation for my nerve to be like put back together. I didn't actually know this until recently. That's kind of like the overview. It's not incredibly detailed, but obviously I can't remember a fat lot. And then obviously a year later I had another operation, which if you want me to do a story time on that, I will. Just comment down below if you want me to do a story time on that. I had toast at about 11 o'clock at night, and I was on antibiotics for 2 weeks, and twice a day, 2 tablets or 2 syringes, because I started with liquid, and then I kept gagging and throwing it up, and it just wasn't going in me. So I ended up having to take tablets. And I was in hospital for 3 days. So I'm now going to start the little Q&A. Hope that answered a few questions, but I don't know because I can't remember the questions. I didn't get that many questions as I've only put it on about 2 hours ago. So yeah, I've got quite a lot of the same questions, so I'll make sure I give you all a mention in this video. So in the next clip I will be doing a little Q&A. So I've got the questions up. I've just picked a few out. I'll put everyone's usernames and the questions that they asked on the screen. From Olivia, she said, "What did it feel like when you broke your arms?" Well, I don't actually remember a fat lot, but it was kind of, the way I described it was like a cramp, but it was like a really bad cramp, so you couldn't move your arms. But that could have been mainly because of my ulnar nerve damage. But yeah, I can't really compare it to another break that I've had, because I broke my collarbone, but that was a hairline fracture. So that was completely different, and yeah, it's just completely different. So to be honest with you, I have no clue. It just felt like a really bad cramp and a lot of pain. Okay, so from India, who I'm actually friends with, said, "How long did you have your casts on for?" So I had my casts on for just under 2 weeks. So I had it basically like a week and 6 days. And from India, again, "How long was your operation?" It was, I think it was like 3 hours to 3 hours and a half, maybe slightly more, I'm not really sure. And then again from India, we've got, "What took the longest to heal, like the bones or ligaments?" Okay, so I didn't actually have any ligament damage, but in the sense of bones or nerve, it was definitely my nerve. My nerve took over probably closer to a year to heal fully and get all the muscle back in my hand, that sort of thing. But yeah, it was, the bones didn't actually take that long to heal because I had plates in, but they still took longer than, I was still going to hospital into like 6 months after I broke them, but it wasn't that sort of thing. Okay, so from Holly, she asked what happened, so obviously I just explained that, so I'm not going to go and explain that again. So yeah, the next question is from Jim.mycob. I don't really know, I think, are they both broken? They're not broken now, it's 2 years ago. I'm very happy that they're not broken now, but yeah, they were both broken, both bones in both arms, so ulnar and radius. And then again from India, she asked, "How long was it before you could write words?" Okay, so for a good while I obviously didn't write, but to be fair, it was probably 2 weeks until I could write, because I had my casts off, but I had nerve damage so I couldn't grip, and I'm right-handed. So yeah, I don't really know, don't remember that, because obviously I had a lot of time off work, not work, school, and I wasn't doing work, that's it, and I wasn't doing like work like written work, it was all on Chromebooks, that sort of thing. Okay, so from Amy, she asked, how did you do it? And obviously, again, I'm not going to go through that, and again, and then again from Ruby, the Welsh cob.equine, what happened, again, I'm not going to go through it again because it was just, I just did story time. And then from Lily, she said, do they hurt? Okay, they don't hurt now, they feel absolutely fine now, there's no pain at all, but they did hurt a lot, and it was like if you got knocked, if I banged it, it would kill, it hurt a lot. But yeah, I had arrows in my arms from where they were going under operation, I forgot to mention that actually, and there was kind of, because my cast went up to here, it was really itchy, it was really sore, I had dressings, my arms got really hot, so yeah. And then the last question is again from Lily saying, how did you do it? And again, I'm not going to re-explain that because it's just story time. So that's all the questions that I've picked out that are kind of like the most interesting. I will make sure to put all your names on the screen, and so you will get mentioned in the video. So now I hope you enjoy my friend's sort of point of view and what happened. So I've got a few of my gym friends doing it, and also Grace and Laura who are from the yard. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you enjoy their sort of point of view on what happened.
So I was, I think 11 or 10, I'm not sure. So I was a bit oblivious. And also Abby was like about to run, so I was like at the end of the track. So I saw everything. I was with a girl called Maisie and she was videoing. Or like, I don't know, like my phone died or something. And then all I heard was a scream, so I saw it. And like then Paul and like the coaches came running over it, and then they started covering Abby with all the mats, and I was just like, oh my god. And then like some of the little ones like was really upset and crying in that. We thought that you did something to your ankle or like your leg. We didn't realise that it was your arms. And then like I'm not gonna name them, but like I don't want to name like the little ones because I don't know if, yeah. But one of them started crying and started hugging me and saying, oh, is Abby going to be alright? And I was like, I hope so. And then the ambulance didn't come for ages. I think it was like 15-20 minutes. And everyone was like saying, oh, she's going to be okay, she's going to be okay. Obviously, I knew that you weren't going to like die, obviously. And then like the ambulance people came and they were like asking for Maisie, because Maisie got it on video, to like rewatch it to see how she did it. And then then like everyone was a bit shocked, and then we had to go home.
When she broke her arms, I thought she had landed on her neck and possibly broken it. So I had to go home with Papa, who is our granddad. After that, I went to Grace and Laura and said Abby had broken her arms.
So when Abby broke her arms, I wasn't even competing or training at Warsaw. I was with West Brom, my old gym club. And me and my friend Holly, who doesn't compete for Warsaw either, she's in a different club, we were in the toilets because we both competed, and like we was just like had some time, so we were just speaking to each other in the toilets, probably making like TikToks or something. And like we heard a scream, and it was like a proper scream. But obviously we didn't really think anything of it because it's competition and it was like all ages, so we thought it might have just been a little kid or something. And so yeah, and then but after like a while it was like really quiet, so we just walked out like just laughing and joking. We walked out the toilets and we went through the doors to like where like the hall where the people competing, and it was just like we opened the doors and it was just dead silent, like nobody was speaking. Like it was just dead quiet. You could just hear like, you couldn't even hear crying, you could just hear like people like, oh my god, and everyone was just stunned. But obviously because we didn't know what was going on, me and Holly walked in like laughing, joking, and like so the doors are here, me and Holly walked in, and then my mum and Holly's mum were like here because my mum worked on the door, and and Holly's mum, they were just speaking because they're like friends, and they both just like looked at us and give us like a proper death stare, like shut up right now. And we walked over to, like, obviously carried on walking over to him, was like, what's going on? And like Holly's mum was like, I think a girl's just broke something, I think he might be in her 2 arms. And she was showing us like how Abby's arms was. Currently you could see her arms were all like, I don't even know. Yeah, and then she was like, yeah. And then by that point when we looked over, there was all mats around Abby, like all the judges holding mats up around us. Obviously you couldn't see. But it was like really weird because I think when we was in there, she might have been unconscious. I'm not sure. Because there wasn't no noise, like you couldn't hear her crying or screaming or anything. But it's like she'd come round and you'd hear her crying and screaming. It was really weird. And then obviously we were just all sat, like everyone was just sat there like quietly speaking among ourselves. And I remember Holly's mum telling us the story of when Holly's mum broke her 1 arm. And we were like, oh, it's disgusting. I remember that. And I remember it taking ages for the ambulance to get there. And then remember when the ambulance got there, and I don't really remember the ambulance doing much, but I remember Anna, Abby's mom, like running, like she kind of like ran across the track and was like really crying, and she was speaking to like Jane, I think. I remember that. And then all I remember after that is the ambulance going and everyone like cheering, and then nobody heard anything, like none of the clubs heard anything until obviously I met Abby. That was it. So yeah.
So what I remember when Abby broke her arms, I'd actually already left the competition, so I didn't see what happened, but yeah, so I've just kind of been told. I basically asked Robin, who was a girl who was at the competition, what happened to Abby, because loads of people are putting on their stories, get better soon Abby and stuff like that. So yeah, I texted her and she said that she'd fallen and broke her arms. And then I'm not sure if it was, so she broke them on Saturday. I think it was the Tuesday that I went for a lesson at the riding school, and I basically, like, she came over to me and she was all like wrapped up like that, and oh my god, it's scary.
So when Abby broke both her arms, it was a shock, like a really big shock. And I wasn't even at competition. I was at home because as soon as awards came, I had to go to a family meeting, so I had to go home, get changed, wash and everything, because I'd just been doing sport. And I just got out of the shower. Mum was shouting down the stairs, Beth, come down, come down. But I thought I was in trouble because every time my mum shouts down the stairs, you're obviously going to get a bit scared, or is that just me? We'll never know. But yeah. And I was like, what's happened? And she's just like, have you not heard? So like, have I heard what? She was just like, you know Abby from gym? I was just like, yeah, what's happened? Is she okay? She was just like, she's broke both of her arms. I was just like, how? That's not possible. She was just like, yeah, she was doing a whip pass in grades, and she fell and she's broke both of her arms. I burst into tears. It was horrible. I wouldn't stop crying or anything. And yeah, was crying for about a good 20 minutes. Because I was so stressed about it, because because I was younger, I didn't have a phone, so I couldn't message her or anything. And I felt really bad because I couldn't do anything about it, which made me feel worse. But it all happened, and the next day at gym, I think it was Monday, you could see that everyone was upset and a bit drained. There was just like, everyone was moping around. We didn't really get shouted at gym or anything. It was just an easy session, and people were trying to cheer each other up, but it wasn't really happening because we was just like, what's the point when we know that one of our teammates are really suffering? And yeah, it was really hard trying to process it and everything. Not just like, especially for her family, I'm guessing. But it was like really difficult because I felt like this. I don't know if anyone else did, but I felt a bit useless because I couldn't help. Because I like to help a lot. So I felt a bit guilty. But then she kept on visiting us, which made us a lot happier, which was good because, you know, seeing her for the first time was just like amazing. She saved us from another song of conditioning. We'll understand. She saved us, which was amazing. Yeah, the first time that she came back, she was both in casts like this. Sorry, abs. And she stood on the steps. She stood like just outside the steps. And we was all guessing the coaches' ages. And we gave her all of her chocolate, all of her cards. And then she kept on visiting in the week. That was on a Saturday, and she kept on visiting on the week, which was really good. And Artie, her brother, came and was going on the beams and was teaching us all rugby and was teaching in gym. And yeah, it was really good, and it's been really good to watch her progress from what she was, from a really good gymnast to an even better one now, because she's overcome such a big hill. So yeah, that's the story of Abby breaking her arms, and I'm really proud of you, Abs, for everything you've been through.
So it was March the 10th, 2018. It was a late Saturday afternoon. We were finishing off the yard, and the flat door opened, and Artie's head appeared, and he just shouted across, "Abby's in hospital." We were like, "What? What do you mean?" Obviously, because we knew she'd been to a gymnastics competition, and he was like, "Yeah, she's broken both of her arms," and we were like, "Are you joking?" And he was like, "No, I've broken her arms," and we were like, "Oh my god!" And then we said, "Are you okay?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I haven't broken my arms." He shut the door and just left us. And we were like, I didn't really know what to do. So I think I did message Anna, obviously Abby's mum, and say, "Are you all okay?" And then obviously she replied a bit time later, obviously we're dealing with stuff, to say that yes, Abby had broken both of her arms.
When we found out, we didn't actually believe it, like, because Artie just like, once he said it, he just like shut the door and was like in the flat. So we were just like, we're still like just on the yard, like didn't know what to do. And then we kept asking you if we could like see it when she was discharged from hospital. But like we used to FaceTime her a lot, and
He kept badgering me, asking me if I'd spoken to Anna and how she was.
Yeah, I actually nearly cried because we were going out for a meal that evening, and I was like actually like verge crying. I didn't want to show my emotions, but I was like verge crying. And then we FaceTimed her the next day, didn't we?
On the Sunday, yeah, with all like the Sunday helpers and that, and we also made her like a massive card, which everyone like signed, obviously.
And then it was like, I can't remember when it was, but we saw her on the Tuesday, went to see her, and we took her.
She was
sitting
in bed, arms like
arms just like sitting. And
we took her a balloon, like saying like, what did it say, like get well soon? No. Something along like them lines.
Yeah, well, it didn't say happy birthday.
Yeah, like just, you know. And like a whole like bag of like sweets, which Laura ate most.
I actually ate most of Abby's sweets, so I probably still repay her for some sweets.
Yeah, you probably are.
And then. So yeah, she was sitting like this in bed
with her poo emojis.
Yeah,
like, they were like squidgy.
And then we were just chatting for some time. Obviously, she couldn't. And I think we were like, she was like always asking for drinks, so we were giving her a drink, weren't we?
Oh yeah.
I think she had to take a huge amount of antibiotics as
well. Yeah. And then the next day, Wednesday, we like work on the yards in the evening. Me, Grace, and Abby. And we went early. I think we went to go see her, didn't we? And then we were chatting for a while.
Yeah.
And then I think she decided to come out. And then you went.
So we had to put her what
Slings
were they, like
on.
slings,
like
back on her arm so that she could come outside. And I did one of the arms, and Laura did the other arm. You know, and I did mine really well. You know, like.
I think
because I'm a nice person.
No, I
I'm
just
like,
forgot that
Laura.
she'd broken her arm, so I tried putting her fingers through it, and obviously she had nerve damage, so I kind of forgot about that and just.
So she probably broke her arm again.
No, I didn't. Just yeah. And then she came out in the yard, and she always used to wear her pink poncho, and then I don't know if I think it was like the next.
Oh, on the late night, there was a client that asked their glove to be checked, and I was like, I don't really know, like, and then I if it was like tight enough or something, and then I asked Abby, can you feel this? And I forgot that she broke both her arms.
And then she was just standing there.
I was like, oh no.
And then like after like a while, she had like started to recover and everything. She used to come out on the yard a lot more, and she used to help do like small jobs, obviously not a lot because.
And we were always really worried in case she fell over.
Oh yeah, so there was a time I was going around the back of the flat, and it was like it would rain so much it slipped,
and the decking it was like slippery.
And like luckily Grace was behind her, she caught her, and I was just like
you tried to grab her arm.
Yeah, because I forgot that she'd gone through breaking her arm. So I nearly grabbed her arm, but I grabbed her waist so she didn't fall for like.
No, I grabbed the back of her.
Yeah, and then there was another time when. I think we were on the yard and she obviously did like small jobs, and then I think it was like a really busy Sunday, and she got asked to lead this pony called Kevin, and Kevin's like fairly forward, like strong, and I don't think it wasn't very suitable for someone that just broken come out and broken their arms. So she was like, didn't really know what to say. So I think she was a bit shocked.
Hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you found that kind of like interesting, and that cleared some things up, because I've had a lot of questions of people like DMing me saying like how's it happened and that sort of thing. So yeah, hope you liked it, and I hope she found some of them, like my friend's point of view, interesting, because they're obviously slightly different to mine because they saw it and I don't remember it, but they kind of will remember more, if that makes sense. So I hope you liked it, and don't forget to follow my Instagram, gymnast.horse@Abby, and I'll link it down below, and also my TikTok, bornvale.stables, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye! Also, I forgot to mention this in the outro, so if you would like a part 2 of kind of like what it's like up until this point, so from when I kind of like my journey between breaking them and then having my second operation, then make sure you comment down below, and also comment if you want kind of a story time on my second operation and why I had to have it, that sort of thing, because I also get a lot of questions for that. So